and welcome back to Hatching Chicks. I'm Melanie Bruck, Education Program Coordinator for Les Hills Agriculture in the Classroom. Les Hills is a regional effort of the Iowa Ag Literacy Foundation. We're so happy you decided to join us today. It's episode 8, day 14 of our incubation cycle. Please feel free to write in the comments where you're watching from. And like always, if you're a return visitor, go ahead and give us a thumbs up so that we can know that you're back. So how are you guys today? I decided to talk a little bit about the egg incubator today and how it turns, why it turns the eggs, why that's beneficial to the embryo inside. Now, before I go into a classroom, before I get started too much, I set the incubator to turn at 1:30. So if it turns during this episode, you'll have a chance to see how that works. Otherwise, we'll talk about it here and I'll show you the parts. So I think kids are really curious about things and they have a tendency to want to explore. So when I set an incubator in a classroom, I like to tell them about all the parts of the incubator so that they're less likely to play with it or touch it if it's on a counter that they can reach. So this is the incubator that we have here today. So the main parts are the electrical outlet, or the electrical cord that plugs into an electrical outlet. There's the tray, there's the cover. This is the turning disc, and in the center here is the water pot. Now, if you can see, there's a line that divides that water pot into two sections. That's important to control the humidity that the eggs are being incubated at. This chamber here on the outside is what you fill with water. And the first 18 days, you want to make sure just one of those water pots are filled with water. But then on day 18, you'll fill it up all the way so that the water spills over that center divider and fills up both sides of the water pot. Now this is the cover that goes over the water pot. In case the chicks begin to hatch overnight, we wouldn't want one of them to go into the center where there's water. So this keeps the chicks safe from getting their heads in the water there. Now this turning tray has little teeth on each side of it, or all the way around it, and these teeth are turned by a gear. So this is the turning mechanism, and there's a gear right here. So when the incubator starts to turn, there'll be a series of beeps. The mechanism right here will start to spin, and that moves each of these teeth. Now, when I first started setting the eggs, I thought it turned all the way around, but it doesn't. It just turns this way, and then the next time it turns, it will turn this way. And then the next time it turns, it goes back and forth. And that continues to rotate the eggs. Now you can set the timer for different intervals depending on the size of your egg. Mine is set at 7, so it will continue to turn for 7 seconds, and it will turn the eggs completely from one side, and then we'll move it, and then it will go all the way back to the other side. When I set the eggs, I put an X on one side. I normally mark it in pencil, but I did it in marker to show you guys a little bit better. And then I make sure that there's an O marked on the other side. That way, just by looking at the incubator, I can tell whether or not the egg has turned and if it's time for a new position. Now, what's such a big deal about turning eggs? A mother hen will turn her will turn her clutch of eggs about 50 times a day. Now that's not 50 times for each egg, that's a total of 50 times. See, a mother hen will have 10 or 12 eggs and when she sets on the eggs for them to start to incubate. So if you have 10 or 12 eggs in a clutch and she turns the eggs about 50 times, the eggs get turned about 5 times a day. The mother hen will turn them by using her beak, and she'll scoop the egg towards her, and that rotates the egg. That keeps the embryo from attaching to the shell, and it also prevents deformities. If an embryo sits in one position for too long, the chick could start to develop abnormally, and we definitely don't want that. So the point of the turning of the eggs and the mother hen spinning them is to make sure that they're formed right. We know that incubation is keeping an organism at favorable conditions for growth and development, and those favorable conditions include 21 days, 99.6 degrees, as well as it gets turned. This one turns about every hour, 45 minutes to every hour, depending on what it's set at. Well, like I said before, today is day 14, so let's take a look and see what our chick might look like inside the egg. So as it's day 14, the movement inside the egg will begin to slow. The skull of the chick will begin to harden. And the yolk is becoming more and more difficult to see. Like we talked about, the baby chick is beginning to consume more of that yolk for food for it to survive. Well, I hope you learned something new today and that you decide to come back and tune in tomorrow for episode 9 on day 15. Thanks for watching and have a great day.